The auditorium was packed, families bursting with pride, flashes from cameras, laughter and cheers filling the air. Mary sat quietly in the third row, hands folded, watching her twins, Jake and Sophie, stride across the stage to get their diplomas. For 13 years, she'd been their mother in every way that counted. Packing lunches, late night comforting when they were sick, endless parent-teacher meetings, working overtime to keep the household afloat. She'd been there for their first words, first steps, every milestone. But when Jake stepped up to the microphone to deliver his valedictorian speech, a chill ran down Mary's spine. She'd helped him practice that speech 100 times. She knew every word. Or so she thought. "I want to thank my real mom, Rebecca, for believing in me," Jake said clearly, his voice cutting through the crowd. The words hit Mary like a punch to the gut. "Even though she couldn't always be there, she's always been my mom. And I want to thank Mary, who paid the bills and kept us fed. Without her support, none of this would have been possible." The applause was deafening, but all Mary could hear was the ringing in her ears. She glanced sideways at her husband Charles, expecting anger, shock, something, anything, but he just clapped, smiling like nothing was wrong. Sophie followed with her own speech, echoing Jake's sentiments. "Rebecca, you're our real mom, and we love you. Mary, thank you for being the financial provider. We know you did your best." Mary's vision blurred, not tears, but a cold, hard sting. 13 years of motherhood reduced to a paycheck. She looked around and saw confused faces. Other parents whispered, uncomfortable with the awkward truth they'd just witnessed. Rebecca, the twins' biological mother who'd abandoned them at 5, sat in the front row, tears streaming down her cheeks, soaking in the praise. She'd reappeared 2 years ago, stirring up drama and uncertainty. Somehow, she'd reclaimed the title of real mom. Charles finally leaned over, whispering, "Mary, are you okay?" She looked at the man she'd married 15 years ago, the one who'd promised a family. The one who'd sat silently as she was publicly humiliated. "I'm fine," she said, though it was a lie. The twins posed for pictures with Rebecca, arms wrapped around her like she'd been there every step of the way. Family members approached Mary with awkward smiles, unsure how to acknowledge what had happened. Some avoided her eyes altogether. For 6 years, Mary had been quietly saving $500,000 for the twins' college, working extra shifts, sacrificing vacations, skipping luxuries, all to build that fund. The twins knew about it, had made expensive college plans, confident the money was theirs. But sitting in that auditorium, publicly erased, Mary realized her patience had been mistaken for weakness. Charles tried to soothe her. "They're emotional. They don't mean it like that." But Mary knew better. This wasn't a slip. It was 13 years of being taken for granted bursting out in one moment. The twins introduced Rebecca to friends as their mom, while Mary stood by the punch bowl, invisible. When asked about Mary, Jake said casually, "Oh, that's Mary. She lives with us. Not stepmom. Not guardian. Just Mary who lives with us. Like a roommate who paid bills." The final blow came when Sophie cut the cake, handing the first slices to Rebecca, Charles, and their friends, leaving Mary standing empty-handed. That night, lying next to Charles, Mary made a decision. If the twins wanted Rebecca as their real mom, let Rebecca figure out how to pay for college too. 13 years of love and sacrifice, and she was just a provider to them. The $500,000 college fund was hers. Money earned with her sweat, tears, and sacrifice. Tomorrow, it would go to someone who deserved it, someone who understood the value of opportunity. The next morning, the house felt different. Jake and Sophie stumbled down late, groggy from late-night celebrations. Mary placed pancakes on the table. Sophie muttered thanks. Jake barely noticed. Charles kissed Mary's cheek, casually praising the ceremony like nothing had happened. Rebecca wanted to take the twins shopping for college clothes. Mary watched silently as they ignored the woman who'd built their future. Jake and Sophie ate breakfast without a single thank you. Meals prepared thousands of times by Mary. As they left for the day with Rebecca, Mary sat alone. The carefully curated bedrooms and college brochures for expensive universities they'd assumed she'd pay for. In Sophie's room, a framed graduation photo showed her hugging Rebecca, Mary cropped out. Her sacrifices unseen. But Mary had made up her mind. She researched the legal steps to transfer the fund to Isabella, Charles's niece, a young woman who had faced real struggles, earned scholarships, worked part-time, and dreamed of becoming a teacher. Unlike Jake and Sophie, Isabella saw education as a privilege, not a right. Mary called Isabella's mother, Amanda, and then met Isabella at her bookstore job. The young woman's passion was clear. Education wasn't just a career choice. It was a mission to break cycles of poverty and open doors for others. Mary felt tears welling up. Here was a young woman who valued opportunity and was ready to make the most of it. Over the next few days, when Jake and Sophie learned their college money was gone, panic set in. Demands, tears, apologies. They begged Mary to reconsider, promising to do better. Charles argued it was extreme. But Mary stood firm. "You chose to call me the woman who paid the bills in front of everyone," she said calmly. "You never saw me as your mother." Caught between his wife and children, couldn't accept the truth. Meanwhile, Isabella thrived. Perfect grades, tutoring others, planning for graduate school, and even starting a small scholarship to help students like herself. 2 years later, Mary sat in Isabella's graduation ceremony, proud beyond words. Isabella's valedictorian speech spoke of belief, investment, and lifting others up. She embraced Mary, thanking her for seeing potential where others hadn't. Mary's own relationship with Charles and the twins had dissolved, but she found family in Isabella, built on respect, gratitude, and shared dreams. Looking back, Mary knew she had made the right choice. The college fund had gone to the right person, someone who valued the opportunity and would use it to change lives. Jake and Sophie had learned hard lessons about entitlement and consequences. And Mary? She learned that love isn't just sacrifice. It's mutual respect. It's recognizing your worth, standing firm when it's denied, and sometimes investing in those who truly appreciate it. So now, I want to ask you, what would you do if you were Mary? Would you have done the same? Or is a mother's love supposed to be unconditional, no matter what? Drop your thoughts below. Because this story isn't just about money. It's about respect, family, and what we owe each other.